I'll wait for you. Sleight of hand and twist of fate. All right. Let's see if we're working today. Sometimes it says lost connection. Sometimes it lets everybody in. Sometimes I can talk to everybody. Twitter's a funny place. Check your connection to resume the broadcast. All right. Anyway, what up, everybody? It is 6:31. It is September 7th. It is Thursday, first week post Labor Day. It's definitely been tricky. You know, you've had some weakness in tech, some articles, you know, some momentum lost, and we'll see. I can't really see who's joining the video. I'm just going to go with it. Maybe make a little bit of a smaller one. My name is Scott Ruther. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com, and here we are. So, you know, again, we've lost, this is what, day 3 down from the post-jobs report high, trying to figure out what's up, Caracas, what's next. You know, you look here at the SPYs. This was your summer top at 459. This was your Friday pivot, September 1st. And since then, you know, we've had a 3-day pullback, and what do we know? We know that 443.82 is pretty much what we broke out from, you know, on the last week of August. So if we could hold here, you know, chances are, you know, we could probably consolidate and see a little bit of better action. But at this point, it's hard to tell. We've lost a few leaders. Doesn't seem like there's many things looking to make higher highs in September, October, as far as momentum names where you could buy high and sell higher. Most things have lost momentum and feel like they're just trades or just, you know, chart building. So anyway, let's take a look. So like I just said before, the SPYs right now are down $1. Okay, 445.18. So we're still about $2 above yesterday's lows. So we'll see, can you know, hold verse this morning for cash flow, or does it break it and see lower? We're pretty much in the 50% retracement, which is a spot that should hold if we're going to see any commitment to this move. The Qs have been a little bit weaker. You know, actually not really. If you look at it like this, the Qs pretty impressive considering what you saw yesterday in Apple. You know, Qs broke above this mini trend line, couldn't hold 375.83. I was thinking maybe a bull flag. I was wrong, so I got stopped out of a lot of names yesterday. You know, lost money, but it could have been worse. It could always be worse, and as long as you follow your process, you know, you got to kind of be happy with the way you navigate it. And now 372.70 is a spot. That was, remember when NVDA came out and they tried to rally and they sold the news, that was that high. So we'll see if that holds. If you go here, what are the Googles doing? What up, Alan? Let's go. The Qs are right now at 372.60. So 372.60 is literally right here. So if it's going to get to the 21-day or below, it's got to get below and stay below this. We shall see. Again, this isn't much of a pullback. It felt like it was a much bigger pullback. I wasn't even in Apple yesterday, and it felt like it was, you know, a big pullback. I guess because NVIDIA was weaker, and in the first half an hour, they literally washed out anybody long Tesla. Tesla's been so erratic and so, you know, back and forth from day to day that it's almost like you don't even want to trade it, you know. But anyway, so the Qs are right here down 2. Why are the Qs down this morning? Well, there's another article about Apple. So Apple's been pretty much the best stock of the year, right? You know, starting from the low in January. It's been in a sick trend. Prior to numbers is when it broke this accelerated trend. I think that's when I got out of Apple, thank goodness. You know, and then here's your post-earnings gap down, okay, that just got filled over here. And then, you know, for the summer, you know, you had a decent move, right? This was August 18th. This is that red dog reversal. Remember, August 25th is when the Qs did a red dog reversal, but Apple kind of led the way. You lost connection? Yeah, I got to get a tech guy in here. Check the encoder settings. So PS, if you were playing Apple for it to hold up and potentially lead, yesterday you had to get stopped out. I wasn't in Apple because I actually had Apple here and I sold it into this day just because I was like, you know what, anytime we're extended from the 8 day, and I'd rather not sit, I'd rather just take the trade actively. So this was not my problem yesterday. It just brought out sellers and made you think if Apple's gonna get hit that hard, other things can get hit that hard. Let's see if I could bring back the connection here. Hopefully it's on. So anyway, for today, Apple's down another 5. Okay, so Bloomberg ran another article on how some state agencies now can't use iPhones. So I think this is the way of China probably putting pressure on Apple. Then maybe Apple puts some pressure on our administration to try and come to terms a little bit with China versus always the back and forth. But P.S. This was a pretty potent move lower, below the moving averages. Hopefully you got stopped out if you're active. Some of you guys might even be short. If you're short, congratulations. What do we know? Here's 177.93. That's where we are. This low here is 175.82. Okay, this is what? This is 178-ish. So what am I going to do with Apple today? Because I'm coming in flat. I do not own any Apple. Chase owns Apple in his Robinhood account from the pandemic, but he's still in a lot of profits there. That's an investment for him. But I guess what we're going to do is, what I would do is, Apple's down 5, puts in a low at 177, comes off of it to like just say 177.5. Qs and SPYs come in. Apple doesn't make a new low. Now it's 945. I say, hey, I could buy Apple at 178 versus 177, risk a point for it to maybe go from down 5 to off the lows. And again, it was discounted. We're coming into here. Maybe the Bloomberg article is reiterating a lot of just what the Wall Street Journal said yesterday. Maybe, but if all of a sudden Apple puts a low in at 177, goes to 177.75, and you buy versus that low. If it breaks that low at 950, I'm out, because then then it didn't bounce, and who knows where it can go. Then maybe it can go below 178 and see 175. Maybe it could go even lower than that. Yesterday it sliced through the 8-day, it sliced through the 21-day, sliced through the 50-day. This said, I don't care what stock this is. If you're active, you have to get out of the way. So Apple will be definitely something to watch today. NVIDIA also. NVIDIA has been, a leader, okay, of this risk on tech move. And yesterday, if you look at NVIDIA lost a lot of momentum. So hopefully, if you trade actively for a living, you sold your NVIDIA. You had 2 ways to sell it. If you remember, on Friday it was weaker, and then it kind of gave you a little bit of a bounce back to the 50% retracement. Didn't really potently make you think that this is not in control. Then yesterday it broke the 8-day and and broke this accelerated trend line. So to me, that was a way to stay away. So I'm not in Apple or NVIDIA coming in today, so they're not my problem. They might be my opportunity. If you look here at NVIDIA is down what? 10 at 460. So it's below 465.80 and above this pivot here of 448. So it's kind of no man's land. You could use the same type of strategy. Maybe NVIDIA touches 460, goes to 461. You see the market come in a little bit more. It doesn't make a new low on the first 5, 15, 30 minutes. You buy versus that spot, and maybe dip buyers come in and you get a nice cash flow trade. That's how you actively approach things, testing levels. Maybe it puts a low in the first 5 minutes, maybe 15, maybe 30, or maybe it doesn't. Apple yesterday did not put a low in for like a half a second and then trended down all day. It's going to be hard for these things to trend down again, but we'll see. So see how that goes. So right now there's a whole bit of no man's land here, and this is where there was a lot of support, which was like 448-ish. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. So I think Apple and NVIDIA are going to be important today for how does tech hold in. But these two stocks also did a lot of rallying while some of the other ones didn't. So maybe they become a source of funds, and then the other stocks didn't get back to all-time highs. Apple made an all-time high this year. NVIDIA made an all-time high this year. A lot of tech names didn't. So we'll see, does Google continue to hold in? Okay, like Google right now is only down 17 cents. Does it hold this area to act a little special, or does Google break? At this point, we'll see. So will they isolate it? Or, will it just come back into the base and be choppy? Well, Amazon also, which had a 3-day pull-in, will it hold in here? These two names, didn't rally as much this year, so maybe, they get a little bit of attention, maybe, or they will, maybe, when the tide's going out, everything goes out. If you look at the weekly chart of Amazon, I haven't looked at this in a little while, it's kind of building a little wedge here. It's a different stock. Amazon came off lows. You can make this into like a wedge formation, and hasn't been back to the highs here. This was 2021, 2022. If you bought Amazon from 2020 all the way through 2022, you're still down money. Looks different than than an Apple. Apple on the weekly was priced for perfection, right? You go to Apple, to the weekly, it made a new high here. And then if you say, hey, now Apple's on sale, and you look at the chart, maybe no, maybe it's not. This was your upper wedge into an all-time high, and now it's trying to hold above here, which is probably not. So this is going to be a kind of a key area, this 170-ish. If you look at the weekly, and then here, I guess on the weekly is the 50-day, which is closer to 168. So 168 to 170 could be a spot. It doesn't mean it has to hit it today. I'm just saying, either which way though, Apple went to an all-time high, and I'm just saying like an Amazon did not. So it's not as priced for perfection. So we'll see if it gets better. And Google also did not. Google has given you a move off lows, but still hasn't, and it's been trending. Remember, we played a nice trade here, but it also, is not near the high. So we'll see. Groups trade together, so we'll see how it goes. At this point, again, I got stopped out of a bunch of things yesterday, bunch of risks. So now I guess you say, hey, can you buy Google versus, it's only down 12 cents, it's 134. Will this 133-ish area hold? If 133-ish doesn't hold, it's going right into here, and which is still fine, but it's just not as special. So we'll see. Tesla's been really big, pain. In the first 30 minutes, I was long coming in Tesla. Why was I long coming in Tesla yesterday? Because had a pretty, this was Friday, got everyone short. Here is Tuesday, they squeezed everybody, and then this was Wednesday, they purged everybody out and then came up, and now Tesla is down 4. So 247.50 is above 242, and what was yesterday's low? 245. So I might as well put that in there. So I will look to see if there's, like yesterday afternoon around 12 o'clock when the market was trying to make new lows, there was a lot of buyers in Tesla. So I'm like, God, Tesla is getting sticky here, and then it gave you a trade. It just was a hard trade. Anyway, so we'll see what happens in here. You can almost draw another wedge. Is this going to be, a wedge type formation that's going to trigger to the downside or get tighter here? And then once maybe some pressure gets relieved off of NVDA and Apple, if that's the case, will it lead to the upside? So something to watch. As far as energy in the banks, there's nothing, if you're really trading energy, you had a little bit of a topping tail. It's holding in here. Some guys are long versus 89.88. If you're trading the banks, there's not a whole hell of a lot to do. I tried to play JP Morgan the other day, and it's still just to give you a little trade. It's trending down, and it's just not that interesting. So as you could tell, I'm really not that interested. It is September 7th. We have a lot of time between the CPI next week and then the PPI next week and then the Fed on September 20th. So a lot can go on. I'd continue to watch yields, a TLT. It came back lower, which means yields are higher, which is not great. We're starting to hear rumbles about, really credit card delinquencies, and we're starting to hear rumbles about more layoffs. We're starting to hear rumbles of some bankruptcy, some small business. So that's kind of what the Fed wants, because that decreases demand and decreases inflation, which has been sticky. So we'll see. Either which way, the TLTs right now are up a little. So typically when the TLTs are down, that means yields are rising, and that means computers are programmed to sell. So that's not great for the equity tape. But for now, there's a little bit of a, I guess you could say, there's a little bit of a gap that might want to be filled right here. If this were to get above this, it might help equities a little bit. If it doesn't, the market will care if we break below 93.49 and the TLTs means they go red and work its way back to the lows of the year. And that means rates are going back to the highs of the year, and that definitely brings out equity sellers. So either which way, what I would do if I were you today, watch SPYs right now are a little bit of no man's land, but SPYs are above yesterday's low. Maybe you could buy verse yesterday's low for it to kind of hold here, which would be the 50% retracement. If you look at the Qs are right there. The Qs have a lot more room to go down. If it can't get back above 33.77 or gets below it, and you don't see any kind of bounce in Apple and or NVDA, and you see tech selling start to spread, just be careful, because again, here's the high of 2023, and here's the summer low. So there's a lot of room here if things start to deteriorate. So just take it slow and make sure not to have a strong opinion, have multiple plans. And with that said, I think this is working. Hopefully my tech guy comes into New Jersey today to figure out a few things on why it's been buggy, why it hasn't got to YouTube, why it just doesn't go. Maybe it's a Twitter problem. It could be a TriCaster problem, or it could just be just the way it is. But for me, it's everyone's problem if I can't say hello to my dogs around the world and we can't interact, and if I don't know whether I'm talking to my, the jam camp by myself. Either which way, hopefully you had a good draft if you play fantasy football. I had my fantasy football draft last night. Decent team. If you're a Jet fan, I watched the episode 1 of Hard Knocks. It's pretty cool. I don't know. And it's Thursday. Hopefully your kids are back at school in a good routine. Hopefully your routine is getting back on track if you are all over the place over the summer. So this way you can get into a rhythm with the market. Being in a rhythm is important. Being a little off with too much size, or not knowing what the narrative is, or not knowing if bad news is good news and if good news is bad news. These are all things you have to know so you can react fast and make some money, or at least react and get out of the way if all of a sudden your position from the day before happens to be wrong and the reason why you're in a trade changes. Either which way, good luck today, and I'll post some charts in a little bit. Later, guys.